A new Quantum Incursions championship is starting on Thursday the 25th, also known as Christmas. That's right, Inno is giving us the perfect Christmas present this year in case you need an escape from the dinner table. Just pretend the notification that says your productions are ready is an important message from your boss at work and that you need to go check on it. Thank me later. After you've escaped your family get-together, you'll notice a couple of things different with the Quantum Incursions. The biggest change to this championship is to actions, especially your quantum action capacity. Instead of 100,000 capacity, you will now have a default 200,000 action capacity. In addition, every building that gives quantum action capacity in your city will have that number doubled, including the Fiore Village, Slayer Mill, Black Tower, and Yukitomo Tower. Editor me here, they actually already enabled the 200,000 action capacity and these buildings getting increased capacity changes with the most recent update. Enjoy the extra action capacity for the rest of the season, and back to the video. In case that isn't enough action capacity, cultural buildings from the high and late Middle Ages in your settlement will also be giving some of their own. This chart shows them ranked in terms of the amount of action capacity that you gain per tile. With all this action capacity, you may be wondering if the cultural buildings now provide more actions as well. The answer is no, they actually provide fewer. These are the new values for each of the cultural buildings. The most notable change here is to the pillory and gallows, which see their actions reduced by 40%, and the cartographer, which was reduced by 25%. Now, the best actions per tile can be had from either the pillory or the cartographer, but there's a little bit more to it than that. These changes have actually made the doctor from the high Middle Ages much more compelling. While isn't as strong per tile for actions as either the pillory or cartographer, it has the benefit of being big. The doctor is 3x3, while the cartographer is 2x3, and the pillory 2x2. All three of these buildings cost the same number of chrono alloys, 500. This means that by placing doctors, you can get many more actions from the same amount of chrono alloys, letting you make the swap over to cultural buildings much earlier in the season. Of course, doctors are 3x3, making them fit a little less neatly into the expansion grid than pillories or cartographers, but I would highly recommend trying them out for at least the big open patches of your settlement. It's also important to note that goods buildings have been changed as well. The building cost is a little bit more expensive, but the big difference is that the goods buildings now cost 200 chrono alloys to place. That change largely means that expansions will be a little bit harder to get in your settlement, and you'll probably want to keep a goods building placed until you buy all the expansions that you want. With it now costing 200 alloys, you won't be able to buy expansions right at the start. You will probably have to wait until after at least the first collection. Rewards will also be seeing some changes, namely the amount of lunar coins per node has been reduced by around 10 to 20%, which does mean a fairly significant reduction in the amount of rewards that you can get from the shop, especially when you combine it with the changes to the actions provided by cultural buildings. That said, you will still be able to get tons of rewards each season. The incursions remain the most overpowered source of rewards in the game. Speaking of which, there are two new buildings that have been added to the shop that you can buy with your lunar coins. These are the Neo Ziggurat and Tree of Love, with them focusing on attack and defense boosts respectively. Their boosts are fairly similar, but the Ziggurat gives a few more army boosts and forge points, while the Tree of Love provides some previous age goods. As you would expect, the Neo Clock Tower and Menagerie from the previous championship now have 10% discounts slapped on them. If you're considering buying some of those fragments and you're watching this video before the 25th, just wait until the next championship starts and you can get them a little bit cheaper. On that note, as we are coming to the end of the championship, yes, your lunar coins will carry over, but your quantum shards will not. Make sure you spend all of your shards before the 25th. And that is all for the update stuff, but I did want to briefly touch on my own thoughts. I think that largely the changes to action capacity bring a lot of quality of life, and I'm quite grateful for that. I am, however, worried that this change leaves the door open to making more event buildings that are appealing because they provide a lot of actions. Then the same cycle starts over where the action capacity will have to be increased again to account for it, and so on. I worry that it could become a bigger and bigger time sink where it becomes quantity of experience rather than quality. I wonder why I'm showing a picture of the guild battlegrounds here. Anyways, when the Quantum Incursions originally came out, it felt like a feature where your ability to work with city building or knowledge of how to choose which units to fight with played a larger role in your success. Now it feels more and more just like the guild expeditions with extra steps, and more the elements don't really make sense. For example, I think the fact that the optimal strategy for the incursions tends to be building your settlement towards all cultural buildings to get more actions means that there is a core issue with what is asked of the player. Maybe the difficulty isn't hard enough so that the player should need more decorations or a steady supply of units. Maybe the unit productions shouldn't be instant so that it consists of more than just placing a building, producing stuff, and immediately deleting it. It's even as simple as looking at the goods buildings. Before this update, there was no reason that anyone should choose copper or bricks as they were the largest goods buildings. Now there's no reason to place anything other than the ropery, as it's hard to justify the extra chrono alloy spending for another goods building. And to top it all off, the quantity of powerful rewards from this feature outclasses everything else to such an incredible degree that it's staggering. I've talked about power creep before, I don't think it's worth going through a whole discussion on it again, but I don't think the rewards from the incursions need to be nearly as good as they are. It feels like they're in a race against themselves when they don't have to be. In short, the rewards feel like they're trying to take center stage when the gameplay is really what should be the most important, at least in my opinion. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below or over on my Discord server. The link to join is in the description. I do hope this championship goes well for you, and I hope you have some fun this holiday season and get to spend some quality time with friends and family. And as always, I'll see you all next time.